It's another twist in the legal showdown between Jay-Z and attorney Tony Buzbee. The two have been going back and forth in the court system and on social media after Buzbee filed an amended lawsuit on behalf of his client, accusing the 99 Problems rapper of raping a 13-year-old girl with Diddy back in 2000. Both of which have denied the allegation. But the accusation alone has Jay-Z and his team fighting back. First, he vehemently denied the allegation on the Roc Nation social media page and claimed Buzbee was extorting him for money, while also throwing shots at Buzbee, calling him a deplorable human, saying the Texas attorney has no honor or dignity, and he's just an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Meanwhile, Buzbee responded saying Jay-Z was bullying and harassing him and the plaintiff in that case, while maintaining he'd let the matter settle itself in court. But now in a new lawsuit, a Texas man is claiming Jay-Z's lawyers are bribing people to sue Buzbee and his law firm. This 13-page lawsuit was filed on January 3rd in Harris County, Texas, and the plaintiff in the filing is being represented by none other than Buzbee's law firm, who filed the suit on his behalf. Now, Jose Maldonado, who is the plaintiff in this suit, is suing Jay-Z's attorneys and his company, Roc Nation, but not Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z himself. According to the lawsuit, the defendants in this suit are Marcy Bryan Croft, her law firm MJ Legal, Roc Nation, and the law firm who is representing Jay-Z, Quinn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan. They allege the defendants conspired to obstruct justice by engaging in shadowy operatives to illegally get more than 24 current and former clients of Buzbee law firm to turn around and sue them. The suit claims Roc Nation is financing this alleged effort, while attorneys Marcy Croft and the law firm Quinn Emanuel are orchestrating this whole thing. According to the suit, the defendants' agents were pretending to work for the state of Texas and allegedly flashed fake badges, which the suit says wasn't very smart or careful, but also illegal. The suit states the defendants' agents offered as much as $10,000 to a former client to sue the Buzbee law firm, but the so-called agents were allegedly caught on audio tape red-handed. The suit claims attorney Marcy Croft, who is a lawyer but also a member of Team Roc, was orchestrating that whole effort. Then in another recording, those agents were describing in great detail the alleged criminal conspiracy. The suit claims they went so far to admit the lawsuits would be reported in the press, and some former clients already accepted money to join that alleged effort. As I mentioned, Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, isn't named as a defendant in the lawsuit. However, the suit claims Roc Nation and Jay-Z are synonymous, given the mogul is the founder and chairman. The lawsuit acknowledges Buzbee's law firm filed the rape lawsuit against Jay-Z in New York federal court, and as a result, Jay-Z sued Buzbee's law firm in Los Angeles state court. But the suit claims while all of that legal back and forth was going on, Jay-Z's attorneys who represent himself and his Roc Nation denied in open court and in the press their involvement in the alleged scheme. I want to give a huge thanks to you, our viewers, and our amazing sponsors like Upside. Upside is a super cool and free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas, groceries, and restaurants. Whether it's a nice restaurant or a quick grab-and-go meal, I can use Upside for both. And guess what? I can use Upside to get cash back when I do. It's really so easy and simple to use and completely free, so why not try it? It's actual real cash back too. It's money that appears in your Upside app that you can transfer straight into your bank account. So here's what you do. You download the Upside app, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside, you pay as usual using a debit or a credit card, and follow the steps on the app and get paid. You can use Upside at places like Dunkin' Donuts, Cinnabon, Pinkberry, Chipotle, Taco Bell, 7-Eleven, and so many other places. So why not check it out and see if your favorite spot is on the app? To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside, or scan the QR code on your screen, use our promo code LCNews, and get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Again, that's promo code LCNews for an extra 25 cents back on your first gallon of gas. Now back to Maldonado's claims. He claims the defendants used him as a pawn. He alleges on behalf of Marcy Croft, two people attempted to contact him many times and went so far as to go to what they believed to be Maldonado's home. Instead, they went to his dad's house and allegedly identified themselves as federal officers. After realizing they were at the wrong home, they continued to contact Maldonado, and Maldonado claims they were pushy. Once they got in touch with him, he claims those individuals said they were with the state and they were putting together a lawsuit on behalf of Marcy Croft and the company she worked for. The suit alleges Croft said she would assign Maldonado's case to someone who could get him a lot of money. Instead, Maldonado contacted the Buzbee law firm, and now they're suing for solicitation and civil conspiracy. In a statement to the Houston Chronicle, Buzbee said, quote, "The conduct alleged by Mr. Maldonado is illegal and unethical. We know investigators have gone all over the United States illegally contacting our former clients to try to entice them with money to sue our firm. According to Mr. Maldonado, we now know who is behind this effort. We won't be intimidated nor deterred in our important work. I expect more lawsuits will follow as we continue to hear former clients report this egregious conduct," end quote. But Marcy Croft fired back against the allegations, saying the lawsuit reeks of desperation. She also told the Houston Chronicle, quote, "For over 25 years, I've dedicated my career to exposing and dismantling networks of fraud and manipulation. I didn't ask to be a part of this fight, but now that he's dragged me into it, he should know that I'm not someone who backs down. Mr. Buzbee should be worried. Truth and justice are on my side, and I have every intention of holding him accountable." It doesn't seem like the back and forth between Tony Buzbee and Jay-Z and his attorneys are slowing down anytime soon. So let's bring on attorney and litigator Rich Schoenstein to get his take on this. Rich, always great to see you. What's your reaction to this lawsuit, especially since Tony Buzbee has made these allegations before?
Yeah, well, there's this whole sideshow now between Tony Buzbee and the lawyers who are purportedly representing Jay-Z, especially Quinn Emanuel. There's been some litigation already, and now this is a new suit down in Texas that to some extent is kind of a sideshow, right? The main question are still these really salacious claims against Sean Combs and against Jay-Z and potentially against other people about what happened. And now there's all this stuff between the attorneys that is very interesting for a guy like me, but maybe a little less interesting to others. I don't know.
And why do you think, Buzbee didn't name Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, specifically? Instead, the suit named Roc Nation as a defendant, but the suit also claims that Roc Nation is kind of financing this whole alleged scheme.
When I read a complaint like this, and I read the whole thing, I never know if it's true. I don't know if anything in this is true or not. And I make no judgment because I'm not in a position to make a judgment. But even assuming what he alleges is true, he has a problem connecting it all the way up the chain. He has this attorney who he says is down in Texas trying to get clients of Buzbee to pursue malpractice claims against him. And then he says she's working with Roc Nation and Quinn Emanuel. And he has some examples of her working with them, but on projects that are wholly unrelated to this matter. So he's already got a problem, even if he can prove that she did something wrong, connecting that up to Quinn Emanuel and then up to Roc Nation, it would be another step to connect it further to the owners of that company.
And, it was interesting kind of reading through that lawsuit as well, too, because, the plaintiff in this case claims that he was a pawn. But in your opinion, do you think in a way he's also being used as a pawn through the Buzbee law firm?
Well, that's a really interesting way of putting it. He is a piece at play, pawn or rook, or I don't know what piece. And yeah, it sounds like if you accept everything that's alleged in the complaint is true, then what he's saying is these people came down to me at Texas and tried to get me to sue Buzbee for malpractice. And they offered me money and they lied to me and they told me they were affiliated with the government and they told me Buzbee was going down and they gave me all this misinformation to try to solicit me to sue my lawyers. And then you're absolutely right. Now, Buzbee is using that person to be a plaintiff against the others because he probably doesn't have standing to bring a direct claim in that regard. I'm not sure he can sue this other lawyer, Marcy Croft, for going after his clients. I'm not sure he would have a claim for that. So he's using his client to do that part of it.
And what do you also make of kind of this allegation that all of this was caught on this audio recording? Do you think that this audio recording is going to be kind of like, the nail that hit the head or kind of like this damning proof that they claim it to be in this lawsuit? But what are your thoughts on this alleged recording as well, too?
So it's interesting. I've been in cases where there are audio recordings and the decision is always, when do you mention it? Because I've been in cases where you don't say anything about the audio recording. You let the other party swear up, down, and sideways that they didn't do it. and then you play the tape, right? That's one way to do it. So coming forward in a complaint and saying that we have these audio recordings, remember, this is all, not just litigation. This is all also publicity. So I think the reason it's in this complaint is to tell the world, take these allegations seriously. We have them on tape. I've also found in my travels that audio tapes don't always sound like exactly what the party proffering them thinks they sound like.
Yeah, and it seems like this kind of legal back and forth between Tony Buzbee and Jay-Z. It seems that, Buzbee has mentioned that or said that he believes that Jay-Z is harassing and bullying him. But when it comes to this particular lawsuit, Buzbee mentioned in his statement to the Houston Chronicle that he expects more lawsuits will come out as they keep hearing former clients report this alleged conduct. What do you kind of make of that? While Marcy Croft, who seems to kind of be at the center of this suit, said this lawsuit reeks of desperation.
Yeah, so I don't know if there'll be more lawsuits or not. I mean, didn't Buzbee say he had 120 clients back, right? So he hasn't filed 120 lawsuits. He hasn't filed anywhere near 120 lawsuits. I don't know if that's because he's strategically sequencing them, or maybe he's resolved some of them. I don't know. That would be possible. Or he's decided not to bring some of them. So I'm only going to go by what is actually filed in court. I can't speculate if he has other clients who are willing to be chess pieces.
It seems like it's a puzzle and a game that just won't stop. In the past,
Right.
We've seen Jay-Z's attorneys also fire off some written responses, lots of motions, but that was slammed by a federal judge because of their attacks on Buzbee. Do you think they'll continue to kind of go with that aggressive tactic or kind of change up their strategy going forward?
I think you're always augmenting your strategy, but Quinn Emanuel is one of the top tier law firms in the United States, and they're excellent at litigation. They're highly aggressive. So it's no surprise, and they'll make every motion they think they need to make. They'll bring every claim they think they need to bring, and they will zealously represent their client. At the same time, if you start getting shot down by a judge, most lawyers will change their approach a little bit, at least with that particular judge. So we'll see. But I expect them to be very aggressive. They and Buzbee are really butting heads here, making it rather personal in a way that detracts from the real issues in the case, but it is what it is.
And in your opinion, how do you see this even being litigated at this point? Or do you even see this happening anytime soon?
Well, I mean, you have a mess, Elizabeth. So we have the important complaints are the people who allege that they're victims of sexual abuse and discrimination. Those complaints are coming in the federal courts, and they need to be litigated. And of course, you have criminal proceedings against Sean Combs, and that needs to be litigated. And that's going to be at the front of the line because you're going to do the criminal proceeding first. And then you've got these civil proceedings. And then you have these sideshow claims by people suing Buzbee and Buzbee suing Quinn Emanuel. And now this guy, Jose Maldonado, suing a bunch of people, including Quinn Emanuel. They'll all move at different paces. This latest one is filed in state court in Harris County, Texas. I don't practice there regularly. I've had cases down there. I don't know how quickly it'll move compared to anything else, but it's a mess of litigation. What would take years to get through if it all goes all the way to verdict.
And talk to me really also about civil conspiracy and solicitation. What are the defendants kind of looking at if they are being held liable for those claims?
Well, that's interesting. And so again, this is Texas law, which is not my expertise. They are claiming that in Texas, barratry is illegal. Barratry is essentially the solicitation of a client to bring a lawsuit. And different states have different rules on the extent to which you can advertise, you can reach out to clients, you can suggest lawsuits. And I don't know what the current state of Texas law is, but I will accept the proposition that it is to some extent illegal down in Texas. I mean, that's a lot to consider, but he's got to prove that they did something illegal. He has to show that he had a private right of action to pursue it, and he has to show damages.
All right. It's a lot to kind of consider. And I feel like, I've kept on mentioning that it doesn't seem like anything is going to be slowing down anytime soon. Rich, I want to thank you so much for your insight into this and kind of breaking all of this down for us really quickly before we sign you off. Is there anything else about this suit that you'd like to add?
Not about this particular suit. I mean, this is a growing mass of litigation. The underlying lawsuits, to me, are the really important things that need to be figured out, because there is some very horrible, egregious conduct alleged in these cases. I don't know if that's true either, right? None of us really know what's true and what's not true. So that needs to be sorted out. Some of these allegations by the attorneys against each other, I sort of am dismissive of them. I've referred to them as sideshows. But actually, if some of it is true, it would be troubling. Some of the allegations about the way Buzbee has gone about looking for clients are troubling. These allegations about what this lawyer was doing down in Texas to contact his clients, if true, would be troubling. So it's a lot, Elizabeth.
It's a lot and super messy. And I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see how this all continues to play out from here. Rich, I want to thank you so much again for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. See you soon.
At this time, Roc Nation and the lawyers at Quinn Emanuel have not publicly responded to the lawsuit, but they previously denied Buzbee's allegations. Reporting for Law&Crime, I'm Elizabeth Millner.